It's joke, no joke, no joke. Oh, you know what it is. Keep on hating. You know what it is. Joke, no joke. I'm in the building, baby. You already know the team of B is in the building, first in the building. All right. True Magic is here. Taiwan is here. All right. Unconventional is in the building. Abigail is here. Whack on Wood is here. Michelle Frizzy's here. Fred Jenkins is here. The Jenny is in the building. All right. Choke no joke. You already know, baby. I'm back. Bethany just stepped in the building. Oh man, I got one for y'all tonight, baby. Just Blaze is in the building. Shout out to my main Shane, the dribbling machine. You already know. Eat a wall in the building. We here. All right. Patrick in the building. What up, rough man? All right. Peaches is here in search of. You already know A3 in the building. All right. My fellow Americans, salute. You know what it is, man. Choke no joke. We are here, man. All right. Well, I got a goodie one for y'all tonight. I know I done took a break from the Tupac stuff, but once again, I'm back. In the words, like my man Joel would say, all right, I'm back with that real, all right. Choke no joke. You already know I'm in the building. We live and direct. Let's get to it. Yeah.
Choke no joke.
Yeah.
It's choke no joke. Let's go. Choke no joke. Chicken choke no joke. Choke no joke. Niggas choke no joke.
Many have said it. This go out to the East Coast, West Coast. Put it up. No palm tree the trees and the palms of dealers and fiends. Late night roam the streets. Weed is weaker, but it's cheaper. Not many chicks frontin' like divas. Out west, every chick's a model like Eva, and you know I'm far from believing her. So I'm G'ing her like she G'ing me. Banging in LA is a different thing. At the end, you either dead on the bang, getting out, doing better things. On Sunset, where they hang. Hollywood, where they hustle for change. Times Square here, it's the same. No matter where you go, you'll find a lane. On the west, they kick it with Kane. On the east, trees the social thing. East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast. Grab your raps, roll it up. If you rap, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast. Grab your glasses, take a toast. If you rap, East Coast. When I'm on the west and I'm doing my thing, no one for me coke or your nose I bang. Friends don't offer other deadly things. Thanks for the hospitality, we'll still hang. I won't judge you, leave me as I came. On the road to success, top of the game. Eat all the finer things in the food chain. Teach my kids to do the same. Whether East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast. Grab your raps, roll it up. If you rap, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast. Grab your glasses, take a toast. If you rap, East Coast. Gotta love life and offer wonderful things. Being to travel is a privileged thing. Came back to the East, air wasn't fresh. Streets filled with trash, various people in the eye. It's easy to tell who's upper middle class. Police and racism, same as crash. Back to where they not social, where they less vocal. When they don't know you, be careful, show you around the East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast. Grab your raps, roll it up. If you rap, East Coast, whether East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast. Pop your bottles and toss the cork. If you rap, West Coast. Both coasts also known to give you fame. Got paparazzis playing cameras your way. Got you bobbing and weaving like Cassius Clay. Most thugs turn Muslim in older days. Change their name to Allah they pray. Probably till they decay. This go out to the east and west. For Big and Pop, y'all, let's connect. Whether East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast. Grab your raps, roll it up. If you rap West Coast, whether East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast. You can't get the West without the ES. So it's manifested that we connect. You know what it is. Choke, no joke. Learn from mistakes, baby. You know what it is. Greg on the track. Rest in peace, baby. Either war, we here now. You know what it is.
Choke, no joke. Smile treatment, you know. Yeah.
Choke, no joke, Chiggy, choke, no joke. Choke, no joke, Chiggy, choke, no joke. You know what it is. Learn from mistakes too. Out on all digital platforms. Make sure y'all go cop that. You know what I mean? Stream that. Learn from mistakes. Out on all digital platforms. If you don't get the new album, get the old album. Get the old album, get the new album. All right? That Tunnel documentary is out right now, too. All right? Abigail is in the building. I see you. What up, what up, what up, y'all? Y'all know what it is. We back 7 p.m. every night. Y'all know what it is. Be here at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm back at 7 p.m. The normal routine, we back in effect. All right? Much love to each and every one of y'all for tuning in. Special love to those in the membership game. Those subscribe to the channel. All of those on my Patreon. We got a new exclusive Patreon coming out next week. So if you're down with the Patreon crew, I got another new, never seen before, dropping tomorrow. Patreon.com. Ramona, thanks for the love. I appreciate you. Appreciate the support as always. Patreon.com/Choke No Joke is the channel. Shout out to my man Nate Diggity Dog. West Coast, Vegas, what up? All right. Ramona always showing love. I appreciate you, baby. I appreciate you so much. But yeah, new exclusive. If you didn't see the last week exclusive, I'm not even telling you what it is. You just got to go over there and see it. If you missed it, it's still there. Shout out to everybody that's on the new Patreon. Choke No Joke for the never seen before content. All right. The volume sounds low. Maybe I need to pull the mic up a little closer. Let me see it. I'll turn it up a little bit. 1 2 1 2 2 1 3 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 1 1. All right, turned it up a little bit for you. All right. Choke No Joke, you know what it is. Shout out to Gwinnett County in the building. All right. Lawrenceville, what up? Nat Turner in the building. All right. That's good. That's good for Team of B. All right. Got you. Got you. Shout out to my man Havoc. Rest in peace, Prodigy. Yeah, see him. I listened to that Mobb Deep album over in Cancun. I was checking that out. If you didn't excuse me, if you didn't get to hear the new Mobb Deep album, it is out right now. Go check it out. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Real Choke No Joke. Should I go live on Instagram or should I go live on TikTok? Should I go live on Twitch? I haven't been on Twitch in 3 months, so I won't go on there. I'll go live on Instagram, but I'll let TikTok know. No, I'm gonna go live on TikTok. It's been a minute, but I'll show them some love. Then I'll jump on Instagram in a little while. All right, I'm live on TikTok. If you on TikTok, hit me up. Choke No Joke Official. So it's a lot of stuff that I need to get catched up on. But I have been dropping segments. If you haven't caught them, you might want to go through my channel and check it out. You know what I mean? Good looking Nat. I bought this in Dubai. It's one of my Dubai t-shirts. Use your Google Translate if you want to see what it say. So what I want to get into, first and foremost, when is it? I think Saturday is the No Limit versus Cash Money versus I'm still on the fence about going to that. I don't feel like it's going to be like real official. I feel like it's a complex con thing, so it's good. Yeah, I don't feel like it's going to be no real official industry exclusive type of thing. I think it's more of a public type thing. They selling tickets and everything, so I'm not really that interested in going. I don't think that. Pardon me. I don't think it's gonna be what we normally see when it comes to verses, you know. But I could be wrong. But for some reason, I just don't think it's gonna be what I expect it to be. Shout out to everybody on TikTok. I see y'all. I'm live on YouTube. All right. If you ain't know now, you know. Channels Choke No Joke, Arthur D. Austin's third. All right. If you don't know the channel, but check my bio. You know what I mean? It should be there. Shout out to everybody sending those hearts over on TikTok. So the Observer, what up? STS, what up? Um Alan P, what up? So one of the questions about this versus the Cash Money versus No Limit is who's gonna show up? Who's gonna be there? Um And a lot of people was asking, was Turk going to be there? And I told y'all, you have to check my man Beehive, you know, right here, old Shawty, show to see if he's going to be there. And I was checking while I was over in Cancun, and Turk came on, was like, he didn't get a call yet. Nigga, if you ain't get a call yet, that means you not getting a call and you not gonna be there. And if they kicked him off of the tour because they said that it was over, him and BG having a beef, you can be guaranteed that ain't nothing changed. If they ain't putting you on the tour, they damn sure ain't bringing you out to no verses for the same reason, right? So he kind of really put himself in a bad place, getting on the internet talking crazy about BG and going back and forth because now they put him in a bad spot where he missing another opportunity. And keeping it 100, I don't think they really need Turk for verses. A concert is a little more different because he's on a bunch of shows. Verses, that's really just 20 verses. And how many memorable verses he got, you know, out of the whole labels catalog that they would really need him for. I feel like if Wayne show up, if Juvie show up, Birdman, Manny Fresh, that's 20 verses right there. You know what I'm saying? Wayne got 10 by himself. Juvie got 5 by himself, you know, and between Birdman and Manny Fresh, collectively, that's the other 5. What more do they really need? You know what I'm saying? And if they put Young Money with Cash Money, then they really not going to need Turk. Keeping it 100, because me sitting here thinking, I don't know a memorable Turk verse that's really that crazy. Maybe in one of the songs he might have a real memorable verse, but for verses, I think they could get by without him. You know what I'm saying? Um, but outside of that, who do y'all think gonna win? No Limit or Cash Money? I know that Cash Money, everybody feel like because Wayne has so many hits, but I feel like No Limit is the going to be the shocker. You know what I'm saying? No pun intended. The Silk the shocker, but I think No Limit can really shock people. I think people really forgot about the reign of No Limit, and depending on how P put his lineup together, it can shock the world. Just like with Dipset and the Lox, people really thought Dipset had a chance, and they thought the Lox didn't. And the Lox came out and they shocked the world. They roasted Dipset. You know what I'm saying? Because they song selection, Dipset didn't, go through like Cam's whole catalog, and they didn't pick all the right songs. You know what I'm saying? So your song selection can really get you L a defeat in verses. gotta pick can't be picking the songs you like. You gotta pick them hit records. You gotta get them records that everybody love. Not the ones the label love or the CEO love or the rapper feel like, yo, he spit it. This was his best spit, his best lyrical verse. You gotta go straight with the hits. You know what I'm saying? Nothing else. So if I'm Master P right now, I'm going to the Billboard. I'm looking at all the hits that was the best, the top hits, not just the hits that hit in New Orleans, not just the hits that hit in the South. I'm going to the Billboard and I'm looking at all my top 20 hits. And then I'm picking right from there. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm picking the ones that I know that didn't hit the Billboard but was underground hits. That's how I'm rocking out on that one, right? But hopefully it'll be live on YouTube and we'll get to see it because I don't think I'm paying $150 for a ticket to go see this. And then, that's a flight and hotel. Don't think it's worth it for me. For y'all, especially if you live in Vegas or you close to Vegas, and you're in Arizona, you could drive up there. You in California, you could drive to Vegas. It might be worth $150. You know what I'm saying, to go up in there. For me to fly all the way there and get a hotel and all that for Complex can't get my money like that. I'm sorry. They never broke no bread with me. So, like I said, if I was closer, yeah, they could get the 150. You know what I mean? But by flight, I'm not a big fan of Vegas. I don't gamble. So, oh well. Anyway, moving on from that, right? But shout out to Turk. Shout out to Beehive, my podcast partners. Shout out to my man Wicked Ghetto Mafia. Y'all know what it is. Um, Another thing that I want to get into before I get into this Suge Knight and Tupac thing, and what Suge told me that Trayvon Lane whispered in Pac ear, uh, which sent Pac flying over there, which would make more sense to y'all than the story that y'all been listening to that Dirty Compton pig tell y'all. I'll get into that in a second. Other thing I want to address is Dame Dash, right? Now, if you follow me on Instagram, I posted a clip from Cam Capone. Shout out to Cam Capone. That's my homie, right? Where Dame went on Cam Capone, and I want to say he's extending the olive branch, not out to me, but you know, everybody that was down with Rockefeller, saying he ain't got beef with nobody and how everybody should come together and get some money and this, that, and the third. And, you know, he ain't got beef with nobody. Some people are saying it's a reach for Dame to be talking like that. Some people are saying, oh, it's too late. You disrespected too many people to be sitting there trying to reconcile any beef or for people to come back and want to do something with you. A lot of people were just like, nah, Dame, it's too late, you know. And some people feel like he looked desperate, trying to reach out and trying to do stuff with people from Rockefeller and saying that he ain't got no beef. Right. Well, for me, right, I don't know if that applies to me as well, right? If he's saying he ain't got beef with nobody no more, this, that, and the other, I don't know if I fall, if I'm a branch on that Rockefeller tree, even though I am. But in his head, you know, how he talk about, oh, Joke was he wasn't down with Rockefeller. You he was a work for hire. And then he says, I was hired just like everybody else, which means I was down with them too, right? Um, but I did a post on my Instagram and I'm saying to him, dang, if what you saying is true, right? And you ain't got no beef with nobody at Rock with that used to be with Rockefeller, and niggas should get money, this, that, and the third, and we should all come together and woo 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 and leave the past in the past. Then for me, I'm telling him, you don't need all of these different people for you to get a bag. The main person he should be hollering at is me, right? Because I'm the one with all the content, right? One, because I never got my bread, right? Why? Because he started choosing, well, I ain't gonna say he started choosing, but he kept listening to the white woman, right? Once again, and I ain't gonna kick his back into it, kick his back in when I get into this, but Dame always listened to the white woman. You know what I'm saying? That white chick sat there and made sure a bunch of us didn't come on the set of state property. Two, Dame listened to her. This is the same white woman that blew it for him when he could have had his own TV network over 20 years ago. Yeah, I seen that footage and I documented it so he can always remember that he blew that opportunity to have his own TV network because of his ego. And let that white woman go and talk about she got there and felt like she was black. She felt like she grew up in Harlem because she bridged the gap between hip hop and VH1. All this BS that was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Had these black African men, real Africans, having this white woman tell them about black people, and like it was the most offensive thing for a person that called people culture vultures in the world of culture vulturing, right? So this is the same woman when she came around that Dame was not giving me credit on shows like BT Get Fresh with the Rock or the joint that he got on his network, where he got me and made me a character in his documentary, right? Without my permission. Defamation of character, slandering me, right? I shot the whole thing outside of the confessionals, my direction, my producing of the video, didn't even put my name in the credits, and still got it out, right? And no compensation, right? So him turning on me for this white chick and not paying me, right, for my work for hire, right? Because I buy my own tapes, my own stock. I create the content and then I pay you. I mean, you pay me and I turn over the stuff. Once I'm paid, I wasn't paid. He started listening to the white chick, right? I'm not paid. And I would like the nigga was so good for me, I would go months without getting my money because I felt like he was good for it. And then when that last incident happened, the BET Get Fresh with the Rock, he didn't put my name in the credits again, but they always put Johnny's name for pictures, would never put my name in the credits. You know what I'm saying? And I showed y'all over and over on several different joints where you see me in it or you see my work and it goes off and my name ain't in the credits, right? And this is the stuff that people have sued him for and won. This is one of the joints where he's got sued for like 800 some thousand that he owed because of the same type of thing. Not once did I go to court and sue him, right? But at the same time, I'm not a better individual. But to see him say that he ain't got beef with nobody at Rockefeller, and how we all should come together, this, that, and other. Bro, you don't need none of these people to get a bag. I'm your bag. If Kanye and Cootie got 30 million from Netflix for that documentary, if they would swallow his ego and see where he did wrong to me, right? Where he got to join up right now. I could pull it and show anybody that how I shot the whole thing. I'm in the joint, and when the credits roll, my name ain't mentioned. I'm not credited for nothing. But he want to be mad at me. After I done came to him several times for my money and told him, like, we could work that out. No. Your nigga wait till he get all the way. He never even made an attempt, right? Even after I came to his office, I done went to Darren Chandler, all types of stuff, right? And I've seen him several years after that, several times over the years after that. He came to Rap City when I was producing Rap City and for the release of State Property 2. I produced the show. This nigga done ran into me a million times over, right? And still would never compensate me so he could get the work that I created, right? But however, like I said, I'm not dumb. I'm very intelligent and I know business and I know how this works, especially work for hire, right? I'm saying to this dude, right? If you putting things behind you and you want to get money, you don't need to go do no Supreme Team documentary. You know what I'm saying? To get a bag. You don't need to go and regurgitate over and over a paid in full. But getting with me and us doing the doc, because Dame done lost all his content. There's a bunch of stuff that I shot for him that he did pay me for that he got, right? That he went and had all his stuff in the storage and lost the storage. This is why he don't have none of the content, because he lost his storage. Because he didn't pay for the storage. So I'm saying to him, if it is true and you ain't got beef with nobody, then I'm not gonna hold nothing against you. And we can come and just sit down at the table and we can go to Netflix or Hulu or Amazon or any one of them and do a story just on me and him. how we pioneered a movement that everybody's doing now. When we was running around and I was documenting stuff, nobody else was doing that. People thought we was corny. We was way ahead of the curve. And we did it at a time when Rockefeller was the biggest label and they broke up. So, from my perspective and his perspective, it ain't nothing for us to get interviews with all the people from the label. Everybody still rock with me for the most part. But from my point of view and his point of view as the CEO and all the stuff that I got, if Netflix gave them niggas 30 million for one artist, bro, y'all can't even imagine. Y'all can't even imagine the content that I got from overshooting for 30 years. It ain't even got to start in Rockefeller. It can start with me documenting running into in Rockefeller and then picking Dame up in the story and then going on from there to the death of Rockefeller or the demise of Rockefeller. But if he wants to get back up like that, be back in the multi-millions like that, and I know I could go and do it by myself, which eventually I'm going to do, just like with the Tunnel documentary. I tried to do it with Flex, but he was on his ego mess and thought that I couldn't do it without him. And what did I do? I did it without him. And what happened? It went number one on iTunes on 3 charts. The movie chart, the independent film chart, and the documentary chart without him. And I made money without him. I'm not going to ask Dame anymore, right? I'm just going to do it without him because I know my legal rights when it comes to documentary filmmaking. For content that I created and I own because I purchased all my stuff and use my own equipment. But however, I know that I will get a bigger bag if me and him came together and walked in and did a deal with somebody and we telling the story together with the content to back it, it would be phenomenal, right? But me seeing him saying, yo, he ain't got beef with nobody, this, that, and other. Nobody means nobody. And if he ready to do business with everybody, then that means me included. However, I won't beg him, but I'll stick the olive branch out there because I don't like seeing him in the position that he's in. You know what I'm saying? Even though we have uh our differences and we talk trash about each other over the years, at the end of the day, it's business. It's just business for me. That's it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't grow up with him. I didn't do to him what Jay did. So if you can have no problem with Jay or Beans or anybody at Rockefeller, you damn sure shouldn't have no problems with me when you did me wrong. And if I could overlook it, you damn sure should be able to overlook it. But I'll give him ample amount of time to think about it. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, my number hasn't changed. I had the same number since '88. I definitely still got the same number since I was at Rockefeller. That's a fact. I definitely had this phone number for over 20 years. I don't change my number for nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'll just block your ass. Look at my block list. That joint got over 200 people in it. Because I don't care. I will block you. I am not changing my number. And I don't answer block calls. So it's nothing to me. But however, Dane, if you're listening, or any of you listening that speak to Dane, I posted it on my Instagram. The response is overwhelming. The people will want that. If you want to get up, nobody cares about paid in full. You bust that nut already. You know what I'm saying? I don't have his number to call him. Clement, right? What people want is what I'm proposing. You know what I'm saying? If I don't hear from him, like I said, I will just go and do my own thing, right? He know how to reach me. Kenyatta the barber, he got my number. He know how to reach me. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of people. Beanie C who got my number. You know what I'm saying? Neef Buck got my number. Oskino got my number. For the most part, Rel got my number. Most part, all these people got my number, man. Even Jay-Z team got my number. Because I got content of Jay that Jay don't even have of himself. And I even did a screening with Shaka and showed her. You know what I'm saying? And Jay could have been in the room. I don't know. But the point is, if you want to do a rock doc, I'm all in. And I know it will be more lucrative if a Jay or a Dane was involved, opposed to be just doing it myself. You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm about business. I'm not in my personal feelings when it come to that. You know what I'm saying? I know that the fans want it. I know that. It's not a fan that I haven't seen on my Instagram that was like, nah, Choke, we don't want that. They all want it. So I've seen plenty of people tag Dame and be like, yo, Dame, make it happen, make it happen. Let's see where if he ain't got beef with nobody stands. And if it happens, it won't be no announcement. Y'all niggas just gonna see the trailer pop up and be like, yo, they did it. You know what I mean? I don't have no feelings. It's all business for me. You know what I mean? And I sat on and preserved this content for over 20 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's not, you can't say, oh, I needed to do it. Because if that was the case, I would have did it already. I've been holding it for 20 years to hopefully feel like at a point niggas will grow up and we could do this together. But Time will tell. But like I said, I'm not reaching out. I stopped reaching out to him because I tried several times in the past. Now I'm only mentioning it again because he's the one saying he ain't got beef with nobody and he willing to do something now and this, that, and the other. And instead of dudes cracking on him, the dudes that he helped, like Cameron and them, embarrassing him and other people, I'm willing to help him get up. You know what I'm saying? If they offered us 30 million, we could split that in a nice way where he would be happy and I would be happy, right? Even if they offered us 30 million, even if they offered us 20 million, I'm willing to split it in a nice way where we both happy. But one thing it is, I'm producing and directing it, and nobody's taking that part away from me. You know what I mean? Nigga could be co-producer, but when it comes to directing it, it will be me. Yeah. Niggas done took my name out of too many goddamn credits. So y'all know his Instagram, Dusko Popperton. Let him know if you feel like this is something that you would like to see happen. But like I said, he the one say he ain't got no beef with nobody and he want to get money and he would do something Rockefeller, a documentary or whatever. He don't need to pursue none of these other ideas because none of them is going to generate more eyes than what I'm proposing. None of them. Nobody cares about a goddamn number paid in full, right? A Supreme Team doc or series or anything, that's a Queens thing. He's from Harlem. Why go and tell another nigga story when you could tell your own? And you got the content to back it, to show it. You know what I'm saying? Like, why go do that? And you want to shut 50 Cent up? You can shut 50 Cent up by doing your doc on your own and stun on niggas and show niggas how you was moving, right? Private jets, exclusive hotels, penthouse suites, like way before they was doing it, right? You could talk your talk and show it. You get what I mean? And I'm sure 50 couldn't even do a doc the way that we would because not even he probably was documenting his story the way that I did your story or our story, right? Because even I could go back and pull content of 50 Cent performing for the first time in the tunnel. I got the dat recording of 50 performing the first time at the tunnel. I got footage in 50 Cent house in Connecticut when he bought Mike Tyson house. I got footage of 50 Cent and when he was cool with Onyx. And we did the React music video, ice skating. And I guarantee you, he don't got that content of him with Onyx. Because nobody was filming back then outside of the director but me. It was nobody backstage at the tunnel interviewing 50 Cent but me. Nobody shot his performance but me. So I'm just saying. And that 50 just a spit in the ocean out of all the artists that I shot over the years. interviews with Meth, Red, Jay-Z footage before I even got to Rockefeller, Nas, Dre, Snoop, Snoop in goddamn Vegas, Magic Convention. I got Dame in Magic Convention in the Rockaware booth before I even got to Rockefeller. Like I can show him building Rockaware before I even worked at Rockefeller. That's how deep my history go with this camera. Just letting y'all know. So just one to think on. Now, all you nut huggers, keep hugging nuts, okay? You wish you was me, sucker. Now, let's move on to this Tupac stuff. Now, it's been a minute since I've been on talking about Tupac, right? I took a break from it for various reasons. You know, one of the reasons what I noticed was when niggas try to zap my pages, niggas ain't got nothing to talk about. They keep regurgitating the same goddamn Tupac stories, the same beefs with the DJ Quicks, and it's just the same regurgitating over and over and over and over and over. And what I realized is, nigga, I was just giving these dudes content, going back and forth. You know what I'm saying? So once I took that break and I'm sitting there watching, like, oh, Pork Butt ain't got nothing to talk about. If Suge don't come on and say anything, and I don't give them nothing to go back and forth with, they really don't got nothing to talk about. But keep regurgitating the same old stories over and over and over. Right? So one of the last things that I did was I had a interview with Michael Pandula, right? Keefy D's new lawyer. That right there showed me that my research on the Tupac murder was powerful, very powerful, and very good. And when the lawyer told me, you know, how good my work was, it made me start looking at it in a different situation. So, I started speaking to lawyers about my research on it, right? And I talked to this lawyer who's a former federal prosecutor, and he told me that it's a 1% chance that I could get subpoenaed um, in this trial. So that really made me like pump my brakes for a minute because I really had to think about that. Because one, I've been talking to Suge for over 2 years, right? Now, I'm not really worried about my conversations with Suge because I've always talked to him on the jail phone, um, which I'm noticing lately, either they got him setting some people up, or they just not paying attention because he's doing a lot of talking uninterruptedly and ranting for like 40 minutes uninterruptedly. And that's kind of weird. Like, phones is sounding real clear, and you not hearing nothing or letting you know that he's on the jail call anymore. Right? And one time I got a call and the shit said Compton. And I'm like, yo, Compton? Who the fuck is this? And it was him. And I never answered that number again. I blocked it. Right? And I don't know how he would have a phone that says when you call, the shit say Compton. Right? But I've been noticing lately on them all the dialogue interviews that the calls are now clear and they uninterrupted. And I don't know if he done got moved. I don't know if he sitting in the warden's office. I don't know. But all I know is something ain't right. Right? Because no longer are you hearing what you was hearing on collect calls, even though the calls ain't collect. Right? So for me, like I said, I'm not worried because every phone call that I took was monitored by the jail. Right? But now it seems like he's been changing up his story. Right? And for me, I've been talking to this dude for 2 years. Right? I remember everything that he told me. And now things are changing. And I'm wondering why things are changing, why stories are changing. Now, here's one of the things that has changed a lot. The story about Suge getting shot, right? For 30 years, Suge been saying he had a 45 bullet etched in his skull, right? 35 years, 30 years. He got a 45 bullet etched in his skull, right? Now, earlier this year, him and Reggie had called a truce, right? For whatever reason. He told me the reason was Reggie had some information, and this lawyer chick, I won't say her name, she convinced Suge to get on the phone with Reggie so he could get this information that he needed. And that was his reason for talking to Reggie. But when Reggie was sitting there saying that he was talking to Suge, and I was asking Suge, was this true? Suge told me no. He wasn't talking to Reggie. And Reggie was lying. Until Reggie played a recording of him talking to Suge. And I don't understand why Suge lied to me because I don't know how many people kept it as solid with him as I did, right? I shared my resource with him. I shared information with him that he didn't have knowledge of. I introduced him to people that had information I even helped him, his family, put food on the table. A lot of food. And I never got nothing from him out of it, right? So for him to lie to me, um, he broke my trust because I thought he was a solid individual. But I see now that he will turn and backstab anybody, right? And I'm just keeping it a bean, right? Because I never did nothing wrong to the nigga, but he done accused me a few times of uh giving people information that I didn't, uh putting out stuff that I didn't, right? And the nigga done lied to me and then talk bad about me to people that I introduced him to. So I know that he I can look at what him and Reggie go through back and forth and tell that he will turn on anybody. If he would turn on Reggie, he definitely, I ain't nobody, right? But I never done anything for him to turn on me, but I see how he moved, right? But getting back to it, right? He lied about talking to Reggie. And then I found out that was the truth, that he was talking to Reggie, right? Just like he probably told Reggie he wasn't talking to me. And Reggie came to find out that that was a lie to him because I've heard him say it. Oh, you ain't talking to Suge. Prove it, prove it. But I've always told Suge I never wanted to publicly let anybody know that I was talking to him because I felt like if I did that, then Reggie would be more cautious in the stuff that he was saying. So for me, it was, I don't need the clout. I'll hook you up with other people and let them get the clout and get the views and whatever. But for me, I'll keep it on the hush, right? And that's been ever since collect calls, right? So recently, like I said, he always said he had a 45 bullet etched in the skull, right? Then he was started talking to Reggie, right? And then Reggie says, Suge don't got a 45 bullet in his head. He got a 40 in his head. Why? Because Tupac was shot with a 40 caliber, right? So Suge cannot go for 30 years saying it was a 45, it was a 45, it was a 45, it was a 45. And then in 2025, Reggie says, oh, you know, Suge is mistaken. He got a 40 in his head, right? And then when they cool, Suge does the interview and he says, oh man, I went back and looked in my medical records and it was a 40. You know, I gotta give Reggie his cigar for pointing that out. Even though we ain't cool, I gotta give him his cigar. It was a 40. And the only reason Reggie allegedly says that it was a 40 and not a 45, because that would make it two shooters, right? And the fact that I pointed that out by saying, oh, well, if Suge got a 45 in his head and Pac got hit with a 40, then it wasn't one shooter, it was two shooters, right? So somehow, convincingly, I don't know how. Either somebody let Suge hear that interview or him and Reggie had a conversation, allegedly, saying, nigga, you can't be saying you got a 45 in your head. That's making it look like there's two shooters. So Suge goes and turns around after 30 years and says, oh, I went and looked back at my medical records in the air. It was a 40. Huh? Hold that thought, right? Now, when Suge started more recently implicating Reggie more into the murder of Tupac Shakur, right? As of lately, he's been implicating Reggie as a part of the hit, right? Allegedly. But he's been implicating Reggie as a part of it, right? Well, last week, no more than 2 weeks ago, when he made those allegations, Reggie got upset. And we know when Reggie started getting upset, he starts telling the truth. He don't feel like he want to defend Suge. So he'll start telling the truth. So he did an interview recently with Whack 100. And I got this saved, but I'm not going to play it. I learned my lesson. I'm not playing nobody else's content anymore because niggas will turn on you and try to flag you, right? He did an interview more recently. Stunner Vision, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it, right? And Reggie states, just like Gobi stated, and Gobi was the guy that was working with Tupac and his production company that was in Vegas and was at the hospital and was standing next to Suge Knight mother when the surgeon came out of the emergency room and told Suge mother that Suge would be all right. They gonna stitch him up. He got hit with a piece of scrap metal, right? Because we know Suge was out the hospital within 3 hours. If he had a bullet in his head, they wouldn't have let him just walk out the goddamn hospital with a few stitches in his head, right? Gobi always tells the story that Suge, he was standing right there when the doctor told Suge mother that your son is gonna make it, he's gonna be out in a few. They're gonna stitch his head up. He got hit in the head with a piece of scrap metal. Last week, no more than 2 weeks ago, Reggie does an interview with Whack 100 and some other guys, and he states himself, he didn't say what Gobi said, he said himself, Suge don't got no damn bullet in his head. Suge was hit with a piece of scrap metal. I swear to God, that ain't no allegedly, and I have it. Maybe I'll put it on my Instagram because that's where I'm gonna start putting my evidence at on Instagram. They could flag Instagram all day, right? So now Reggie is saying that there's never been no bullet in Suge's head. It's always been scrap metal, and he's tired of lying for Suge, right? Now let's look at that two ways. Let's say that Suge is telling the truth. right? Let's say he got a bullet in his head. How would he get it mixed up from a 45 to a 40 when he been saying that same story in a million interviews that he got a 45 etched in his skull? And now he's giving Reggie his flowers because Reggie told him he had a 40 in his head, and he went back and looked at his medical records, and he got to give Reggie his cigar or his props for pointing it out that he got a 40, right? Now, Reggie is saying, I'm not lying for Suge no more. Suge ain't got no bullet in his head. He got hit with a piece of scrap metal. Now, let's say if Suge is lying and he does got a piece of scrap metal in his head. What's the reason for him lying? Anyone? So I don't know if y'all believe Reggie, y'all believe Gobi, or y'all believe Suge, because Suge said he had a 45, now he got a 40, right? And he gives props to Reggie for telling him he got a 40, but now Reggie's the one that's saying he never had a bullet in his head. It was scrap metal. So if Reggie knew that all along and played along with the story of him having a bullet in his head, why? Now let's move on to another part, right? For many years, Suge told a story about what happened after the shooting, right? Him and Pac in the car. He tells a story about Pac, like, oh man, you got shot in the head. Yo, whatever the story was. Yo, you got shot in the head. You the one shot in the head. Don't worry about me. Woo, 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 woo. Right? Then there's the story about they threw on some music. And they was listening to some music and some slow jam music, and Pac dedicated this song to Suge while they was driving. They both bleeding and carrying on, right? Right? So, right? So for years, he tells the same story about how Pac was like, man, I'm all right. Don't worry about me. You the one shot in the head, right? Then that story changes into, or get an added story gets in to where Pop put in a certain song and he dedicated it to Suge, and they was listening to some old school jams or whatever while they were driving trying to get to the hospital before the police pulled them over in the ambulance and everything happened, right? Now added to that story in the recent Art of Dialogue interview is the Art of Dialogue asked Suge, whatever happened to Tupac's euthanasia chain, if I'm pronouncing that right, right? And now Suge has a whole new story. While they was riding in the car, Suge, Pac told him, yo, man, I want you to hold my chain, keep my chain for me, this, that, and the third, right? Whoop-de-woo, 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 whoop-de-woo. Now, I don't remember if he said this happened in the car or when they got in the ambulance, this, that, and other. But we know for a fact that Pac took his last breath when the cop, Chris Connolly, opened the car door and they got Pac out. And Pac couldn't even breathe. And the cop says that Pac kept trying to say something to Suge. Like, you know, I don't know if he's saying he was angry, like trying to get something off, get something out at Suge, but he kept trying to say something to Suge, right? Who knows what he was trying to say, right? He could have been accusing him or something. We don't know, right? Because he couldn't get the words out. However, from that point, the cop has told us Pac went unconscious from there into the ambulance and he never regained consciousness. So when did he have this conversation about this chain and how he wanted him to take his chain and hold his chain and woo 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 woo? But he never mentioned the chain story and the story about how they was laughing, driving off when Pac allegedly told him, "Yo, you the one shot in the head." He never mentioned his chain story when he talked about the music that Pac put in and dedicated the song to him, right? He never told that chain story. Not until 2025, he tells the story on how Pac asked him to hold his chain for him and take the chain for him, right? All in that same trip to the ambulance. Now, let's move forward a little bit. For all those who don't believe that Tupac was leaving death row, right? We'll take it back to Snoop being on the radio, right? Snoop being on the radio with Angie Martinez saying that he didn't have no beef with Big and Pop. I mean, Big and Puff. And Michael Moore and Pop going to Suge's hotel room and Suge and Pac having that beef in the hotel room. Now, Suge never tells that story about how Pac was jumping up in his face and told him, yo, after he finished Machiavelli, he can have Machiavelli. That's his third album. He's out. He's done with Death Row. He fulfilled his commitment. And how Michael Moore said he had to jump in between them, and he believed that if he wasn't there, that Suge would have washed Pac up, right? That's one line of proof that Pac was done with Death Row and was leaving, right? The second line of proof is when Pac left the hotel and was going to the jet with one of the security guards, he told him that he was a dead man walking because of that conversation, right? Why would Pac be a dead man walking if they didn't have no problem with him leaving Death Row? Why would he say that about himself? Third line. Gaddafi mother showing the paperwork where Pac fired David Kenner and Reggie. Her saying that Pac was leaving death row. Pac aunt saying that he was leaving death row. Tracy saying that he was leaving death row. Gobi saying that he was leaving death row. Virginia Slim saying that he was leaving death row. Michael Moore, Frank Alexander. All of these people that were told by Pac that he was done with death row, right? The only people that tell you that he wasn't leaving is who? Reggie and Suge, right? But there's more than enough people that told you that Pac was leaving death row. Now, more recently, which is the icing on the cake for me, is Wendy Day. Wendy Day did an interview. And remember, ain't none of these people got a reason to lie. What reason would they have to lie to say that Pac was leaving death row? What would they gain out of that? Right? Now, recently, Wendy Day does an interview with Cam Capone. In her interview, she says Tupac was leaving death row. And how she know? Because she was shopping him his deal. And she say she believes, and you could go watch the interview for yourself, that she believed she's the one who allegedly got Pac killed by shopping a deal for him because allegedly she feels like Suge found out that she was going around shopping this deal and Pac got killed. And she believes that being that she was shopping this deal for Pac, that she believes that that's what got him killed. Allegedly. But that's what she says. Go watch the interview. Now, if Wendy Day is shopping a deal for Tupac because he's telling her he's leaving death row and he gave her the permission to go shop him a deal, why y'all believe that Pac wasn't leaving death row? I repeat, if Wendy Day is shopping a deal and taking meetings for Pac to get his own deal, and he's telling her he's done with death row and giving her permission to shop a deal, and she believes that he got killed because Suge found out or may have allegedly found out that she was shopping the deal for him. If she got that guilty feeling in her soul, is that was the reason why Pac got killed? Why are y'all still doubting the fact that Pac was leaving death row? Another line, the toss it up video. I pointed this out before. Now, prior to me pointing out in the Toss It Up video, that would be Tupac's last video with Death Row, or his last music video. If you go watch the music video, Pac is not wearing before the music video. Pac stopped wearing the Death Row chain. In that video, Pac does not wear the Death Row chain. In that video, Pac is burning the Death Row book match. He's burning it. He's burning the word Death Row Records, right? On top of that, go watch Danny Boy's interview where he talked about Tupac on the set of the Toss It Up video. Go see what Danny Boy has to say about how Pac was acting on the set of the video Toss It Up. And then think about him burning the Death Row sign in that video, and think about him not wearing a Death Row chain, and think about him having Wendy Day shop a deal for him. Think about him telling security that he was a dead man walking. Think about him telling Suge that he was done with Death Row. And think about him telling Michael Moore he wasn't going to Vegas with them sellout ass niggas. And then think about all the people that was around Pac that's saying that he was done, right? Everybody tells you that except for who? Now, see how Suge could turn on a person like that or get angry with a person like that, right? How he could turn on Reggie like that. More recently, I seen the girl SKG. Suge was just talking about doing something with her. I just seen her recent interview. She's talking about, oh, I'm taking a break from Suge. I can't work with him right now, woo, 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 or whatever she said, allegedly, right? But she had to take a break from him, and she not rocking with him like that. I know it ain't just me. If he could turn and flip on me, and I did nothing for him but help him, and I'm seeing how he do Reggie, and I'm seeing how this SKG girl is talking. And I see how he did Dr. Dre. I see how he did Snoop. You tell me that if he bailed any one of you niggas out of jail, and then you turned around and told him you not messing with him no more, you Dr. Dre. Oh, you quit? Oh, nigga, I'm keeping all the masters. Oh, Snoop, you leaving the label? I'm sending niggas at you. Oh, Reggie, whatever you did, now I'm telling on you. And I can't even imagine all the other people. Now, I would never mess with that rat bastard Reggie. But y'all know I am. If it's a duck, I'm gonna call it a duck. If it quacks, it's a duck. When Reggie say that this dude be lying, he's not lying. And he's vindictive, he's not lying. I got accused of messing with the lawyer chick that I never met. I got accused of giving Reggie a recorded conversation that I was never on. Now, however, I do believe that allegedly Reggie played a part in the orchestrating of Tupac murder. I honestly do believe that, but I believe that them orders came from death row, allegedly, right? Now, recently, Suge is saying that allegedly Reggie, as he called him, the crooked cops or the crooked police, insinuating, by calling him that he was down with Keefy D allegedly, and they all worked with Puff allegedly to put this hit on Tupac, and how Keefy D told him that he needed the money, this, that, and other, which makes no sense to me, right? Now, will he turn on the people that helped him the most? Yeah. Speaking on Suge, like it's clear that the narrative constantly changes, and this is and part of some of the stuff that you hear me reporting because y'all didn't know I was speaking to him. Some of the information was coming from him, and I was believing him until now. I know that I see that his story constantly changes. So I don't know what's the truth and what's lies, but I know what inconsistency is. Right now, I believe that them at death row allegedly orchestrated this whole thing, and the only reason why the dirty pig and this guy keep going back and forth about it is because if one go down allegedly, they both go down, right? So now that he's implicating Reggie in being a part of it allegedly, Reggie allegedly, if he is involved, he can't tell on him because he still would be involved, allegedly. So Reggie is in the space where damn if he do, damn if he don't. Like, even if he say, yo, he told me to do it allegedly, he still was involved. And he still would be a co-conspirator, allegedly, even if he was given the orders to do that. Because to me, it don't make no goddamn sense to why Reggie was still around after all his incompetence, telling dudes don't have their guns, not being the head of security, and not being around all goddamn day, even after the fight. He wasn't around, and he was just worried about this goddamn club so much. But he still runs the label. He still he gets buildings and cars and stuff put in his name. And for me, if a mother effer was that incompetent and my biggest star got killed, that nigga wouldn't be, he couldn't guard the bubblegum machine for me. Like, he would never work for me again. Never. Especially when I found out that he disarmed the security. Now, here's the thing. Why it's so hard for many of y'all to believe that Suge can have anything to do with Tupac getting shot is because he was sitting in the car with him. For me, that don't mean jack squiddly squat, right? Wasn't Alpo sitting in the car when they killed Rich? And nobody knew for a while that Alpo killed Rich, right? But he was sitting in the car when they killed Rich, right? Even though Rich went and grabbed Alpo in the face and scratched him, and when he said AZ saw Alpo later, he still didn't know that Alpo was sitting right next to Rich when he got killed in the car, right? Now, some of y'all might be like, oh, well, the way he got shot, it was different, this, that, and the other. Okay. The movie Training Day was based on the true story, right? About Rafael Perez, right? How many of y'all remember that? I remember. How many of y'all remember when they went and robbed the guy, and they had to shoot one of their own men to make it look legit? This is still the same cop that allegedly was connected to death row. Even though that's a movie, it's based on a true story, right? And I just use that to say that just because a person is at the scene of the crime doesn't mean that they didn't have anything to do with it. Now, Suge says when the shots went off, Pac tried to jump in the back seat, right? And he grabbed him and held him down, right? To protect him. Not swerve to the right and try to hit the car, not punch the car and knock the car in front of him out the way, not swerve to the left and knock that car out the way. He just stays there and he dives on Pac. First, he grabs Pac, he says, and he holds him down, right? I don't know how many of y'all been in cars when shootouts happen, but most people will not put the car in park when the shots start ringing out and sit there without trying to maneuver and get out of there, right? That's just my observation being in the streets, right? You're gonna you're gonna try to get the F out the way, right? Even if it's an ambush, right? Unless you don't know what the hell you're doing, right? In Biggie's case, what did G Money do? He slammed the car and parked and jumped out and ran down the street, right? He didn't sit there. He got the hell out the car, right? And he was at the light with nobody in front of him. Suge says he grabbed Pac and held him down and told him to get down. Then you got Reggie Wright Jr., who says that Suge allegedly used Pac for a shield. You got Whack 100, who also says that allegedly Suge held Pac as a shield. Now, using a person for a shield is not a shield, right? Because bullets go through people. So if you standing behind somebody, yeah, you could use them as a shield, but there's still likely chances that the bullet could go through them, right? And hit you unless they getting shot at an angle. If they get shot at an angle, then the chances of the person behind them getting hit is a little less than likely, right? Or the chances are lesser, right? Unless the bullet ricochets through their body and comes out at a different angle. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but you heard Suge say it more recently publicly, but he told me a long time ago. It wasn't one shooter, it was two shooters. If you go listen to his Art of Dialogue interview more recently, I'm not saying nothing that he didn't say. I'm just saying it now, but he been told me this, that it was more than one shooter, right? Even Gene Squill was told that it was more than one shooter. And when me and him had the conversation when we was cool, he was shocked that I was told that it was two shooters because he heard that it was two shooters and that the shooters were on foot, or one of the shooters was on foot and ran up on the car. I was also told that. And I'm not saying nothing that ain't recorded on the jail call. Now, if you listen to Suge's interview more recently, he talks about the homie, which is K Dub, him talking to Ben Crump. And like he told me a while ago, but he said it more recently, so I'm only saying it because he said it publicly himself, that when K Dub told that Ben Crump that he ran up on the car after the shooting, right? Ben K Dub told Ben Crump that he heard the shots. He looked up in the rearview mirror. He seen Pac trying to jump in the back seat, and he seen smoke inside the car. He got out of his car, and instead of running straight from the driver's side to Suge's driver's side, he ran around the front of the car and he ran up on Pac's side. Right? Now, I'm the one that let Suge hear this interview. And the same thing Suge says live on the Art of Dialogue, he said to me, this stupid nigga just told on himself. And you could go listen to the Art of Dialogue interview. So don't be mad at me for repeating what he's already said publicly. Now, he done told me this. Like I said, all the jail calls are recorded, right? But however, he said it himself. More recently, this dumb nigga told on himself, meaning that allegedly he was the dude on foot that ran up on the car, right? Now, my thing is, if dudes pull up and start shooting, and you the car in front of Suge car, how many of y'all are gonna sit there and no cars in front of y'all? I think 95% of y'all will punch through the light and keep going, right? Not too many people are going to sit there and watch and then get out their car and run up to the car that just got shot up, right? And outside of that, why would Suge say the stupid nigga just told on himself? Anybody? Now, don't get mad at me because this is public knowledge. He said this. When he told me this, I never said nothing about it. He said it himself now on the Art of Dialogue. Now, the interesting thing is, if you go to the grand jury testimony, if I could find it real quick, I'm going to pull it up. In the grand jury testimony, the cop that was up in the parking deck says he saw a guy running from the BMW, jump in the car in front of the BMW, and take off. And he had a gun in his hand. He had on a black vest, I think a white t-shirt, black pants. I I'm I'm not going to even guess. I'm going to look for it. But he says he see the guy leaving the BMW with the gun in his hand, jump in the car in front of it, and take off. I can't think of his name right now. I think it's William something, but he's a cop. All right. Anyway, I'll find it. Hold on. Oh, all right, my bad, y'all. I hit the my fellow Americans, good looking. I had hit the mute button by accident. Can y'all hear me now? Damn, I don't know what's the last thing y'all heard. Shit. Check. Can y'all hear me? Check, check, check. Y'all missed 5 minutes. Hold on, let me go back and see what y'all how much. Check, 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 check. All right, y'all didn't miss anything because I was just looking. I was looking for this paperwork, so y'all didn't miss anything. I wasn't saying nothing. Yeah, y'all ain't miss anything. All right, so this is the cop that um that testified in the grand jury. So when they question him, they say, "So I'm going to pull this up." I know it's slightly. Just give it a second. Hopefully, so the old Maximum was basically at the corner of Flamingo and Koval. Yes, it was, he says. And there was a parking garage, or is a parking garage, sort of on the corner here of the southeast corner property. Yes. It was a little bit because there was some parking available in front, but yes. Okay. And are you on the first floor or second floor or third floor, or do you remember? I was on the third floor at the time. And was this a standard type parking garage that you have here in Las Vegas where, you know, the interior, there's a wall, but it's open air between the top and the bottom? Yes. While you are there with some police officers, were you there investigating an incident unrelated to why were you here today? Correct. And as you were there, did something unusual happen or did you hear something unusual? Yeah, gunfire erupted on Flamingo. Approximately how many? Well, first of all, it all one set of gunfire or were there multiple volleys? It was multiple volleys. It was like I want to say I want to say probably 3 volleys of maybe 6 to 10 rounds each volley. It was very pop, 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 pop. When that happened, what did it tell? And when that happened, what did you do? We ran towards the sound of the gunfire. And I was on security at the time, and I had leaned over the barrier to see what was going on, essentially. And the 2 Metro officers were behind me. And I remember one of them had dropped his radio and it had broken. It came apart and the other officer ran to the car to pursue. When you got to the wall, and I'm assuming then you're looking out from the parking garage down onto Flamingo. Flamingo, what did you see? I see a line of cars. The light was red, so the cars would stop. And I saw people outside of the vehicles in the traffic lane. Okay. And did you see any of those people armed with a weapon? Yes. There was one black male adult, athletic, wearing a very bright white shirt, a black vest, black slacks, and black shoes. And he was carrying, I could see it, it was a semi-automatic pistol, right? So that goes to show y'all that it wasn't just a drive-by in a Cadillac, right? And for all y'all that's gonna say, "Oh, it was Buntry. Buntry got out and shot back at the Cadillac." Buntry had on all white. Go look at the goddamn MGM video and look at Buntry's clothes. He's wearing all white that night, and he was pointing. And was he pointing it at any particular direction? Not at the time I saw it. It was kind of well. I mean, it was in his hand. Okay. At the time you see that, do you initially draw a conclusion as to who might be the shooter? I assume that was the shooter because that was the only person I saw with the weapon very shortly after hearing the gunfire. And as you watching down into this line of vehicles, did you see what those vehicles then did? Well, the vehicles actually had made a U-turn from not the left lane, but the center lane. Made a U-turn on Flamingo and headed towards Las Vegas Boulevard. And did you see more than one of them? Yeah, there were several vehicles. There was a white, if I can remember correctly, I believe it was a white Dodge Stratus four-door. There was the black BMW. There was another smaller car that was dark in color, and then there was a white Chevy Suburban. So there's a number of vehicles then that make a U-turn, and you saw those vehicles do a U-turn and go in this direction, head towards Las Vegas Boulevard. Were any other people that were out of the vehicles? Did you did they get back into those vehicles that wound up doing the U-turn and going in that direction? Yes. All of the people that I had seen went back into the vehicles, they were making U-turns. So they were all in this convoy type of. And when you realize or you believe that now the shooters are going westbound on Flamingo, do you rely any information to the police? Yeah. At the point the officers had gotten down to the exit, they had looked up at me from their windows and I was just pointing at them to make a right and head towards Las Vegas Boulevard. Now, the Cadillac made a right on uh Colval. It didn't make a U-turn. Yeah, at that point, the police officers had gotten down to the exit. They had looked up at me from their windows, and I was just pointing at them to make a right and head towards Las Vegas Boulevard. So the officers that you're at least talking to, you're trying to communicate to them, hey, the guy who is the shooter is headed in that direction. Correct. So what does that tell y'all? Right? That all the cars that was with them that made a U-turn. Remember, the white Cadillac made the right. The Sebring with the girls in it made the right. Bunchy and them chased the car. They made the right. The person with the gun that he's saying is the shooter went and got back in the car and made the U-turn. Now, what do that tell you? What do that tell you? One, it wasn't just the white Cadillac. Suge told you it was several shooters, and he said that there was shooters on foot. And the shooter made a U-turn that made a right. Not made a right. Remember, the white Cadillac made the right. The girls, the witnesses said the white Cadillac, they made the right after the white Cadillac and they started shooting back at them. Buntry made the right. Right? The person that was on foot didn't make the right. Now, here's the most interesting thing. The fight at the MGM, right? We know that Reggie lied and told Frank the lie about Orlando tried to take Tupac's chain the day before the incident happened or earlier that day. I can't remember. He done told so many goddamn lies, right? If you go listen to Suge's interview more recently, right, on the Art of Dialogue, he tells you that there was no bounty on no death row chain and that Trayvon Lane and Orlando and them had a fight at the Lakewood Mall over set tripping. Suge says this, right? It wasn't over no goddamn chain. K-Dub tells the interview that the fight at the Lakewood Mall wasn't over a chain, right? I've told you the story that allegedly it was over set tripping because Trayvon and Orlando both was originally from Long Beach. And they ran into each other at the Lakewood Mall. And Trayvon now became a Mal Paru when he was originally allegedly a Long Beach Crip. And that was the reason for the fight. Now you done heard it from Suge, you done heard it from K-Dub. Everybody tells that story except for Reggie is trying to get you to believe that it was over a chain, which he got try to get Frank to lie about and say that it was over the chain. The chain was the alibi to put it on Diddy, right? Now, once again, I have no reason to lie. You just heard Suge say it himself. It was never over no goddamn chain, right? Now, in the MGM, after the fight, you see Orlando standing there waiting, right? Now, this is the same guy that's standing there waiting that went and testified for Suge in his hearing. This is the same guy that went and sat down with Reggie and what's the lawyer name? I can't think of the lawyer's name right now. But sat down with Reggie, sat down with Keefy D, sat Orlando, Sergeant Reynolds, and they all had the meeting, and they gave Orlando and Keefy D 60,000 for him to go testify for Suge. Now, if this is the dude that shot Suge, right, and this is the same dude that Reggie called and told his pops that they are the ones responsible for killing Tupac the night of, right? According to Reggie Pops. Why are they even having meetings with these niggas? It wasn't David Kenner that sat with them to negotiate the payout for them to Edie Falls or something like that. That was the guy. Yeah, I can't think of it right now. Edie Falls or something like that, right? Um, anyway, TikTok, this is over. My LA Major, what up? My phone is about to die. TikTok, y'all got to come over to my YouTube. All right. Peace and love. Right. Uh, and then you got Suge saying that how he saw Keefy D at the Lakers game, and Keefy D told him that Diddy gave them money and they needed the money and they sorry, but that's why they did it. Right. So he just and then it's free Keefy D, right? So it's all this, you know, talk how they know that Orlando and them did it, right? But they don't do nothing to Orlando. They don't do nothing to Keefy D. They have meetings with Keefy D in Orlando. They give them money. He go into court and he testify for them. And they just overlooking the niggas that shot them and overlooking that they killed Tupac. But they could just do business with these guys and they could just talk to these guys at the Lakers game and it's free Keefy D. It's no problem to be cool with these things. Reggie been cool with Keefy D for all these years. right? He set him up with Vlad. He set him up with Cam Capone. He set him up with Art of Dialogue. He calling him up on YouTube. They are just the best of friends, and he's supposed to be the one that killed Tupac, right? But nobody's ever thinking that they in on this whole thing, right? Anyway, moving forward. We know Pop don't want to be there. We know somehow he got manipulated to go to the fight. We already know that told people he was leaving. We already know he's not wearing a death row chain when he show up to Vegas. We already know that uh Suge stopped Frank from getting in the car with him, told him, yo, they had some business to talk about. He didn't want him to ride in the car with him. We all know that Reggie and George Khalees, and Reggie says himself that, let me pull it up so you can see. That Reggie says himself that he told them not to have their guns, right? Let me pull it up. Here you go. Hold on. Here we go, right here. I just want to have my just want to have my receipts. See it right here? Okay, now were you given instructions as to whether or not you all were allowed to have firearms at the club or in the city? Or in the city while you're trying to get this business deal down? And Reggie answers, so either myself or Mr. Khalees, in the meeting that I had with all my security. Remember, George Khalees is just a lawyer. He's not the boss. Reggie's the boss of the security. So either myself or Mr. Khalees, in the meeting that I had with all my security, who were mainly off duty or retired police officers, and I informed them. Now you heard him, right? And I informed them, or Mr. Khalees, I forgot who it was, but I know I echoed it. If I wasn't the one that said it, ban them from having their firearms on them inside of the club. Told them we didn't want that night. Didn't want to see any guns. If they had a problem with it, don't come to work. Now, you got Frank and you got Michael Moore on video saying that they told them not to have their guns, right? So not only do these dudes don't have their weapons on them, right? Reggie tells Frank the lie and make up this story that Orlando tried to take Pac chain, right? And then there's the story about, oh, this fight was over because they Orlando and them took Trevon Lane's chain at the Lakewood Mall, which you heard several times that never happened, right? The chain was never took, and the fight wasn't over no chain or no death row bounty or chain, right? Now, like I said, Suge just said this recently, right? So I'm not saying nothing that he didn't say publicly. However, the one thing that he did tell me is that when Trevon Lane went over to Pac, he was standing next to Pac. Nobody could tell him nothing because he was standing next to Pac. And he heard Trevon Lane. And he said, Trevon Lane told Pac, yo, that's the nigga right there that bad boy hired to kill you. And that's what sent Pac running off to Orlando. I ain't got no reason to lie about that. The jail phone ain't got no, it's recorded. I ain't got no reason to lie. That's what he said. It's on the jail call. That's what was said to Pac. That's the nigga right there that bad boy hired to kill you. And that's why Pac took off. Now, if you think Pac was going to take off and go run up on a nigga because he took a nigga chain, yo, that's the nigga that took my chain. And this nigga is on bail, out on bail. You think he's running up on a nigga for a nigga chain? Which one would you believe more? That he told him, yo, that's the niggas that bad boy hired to kill you. Or, yo, that's the nigga that took my chain. Which one do you really believe that will send Pac running off? Believe what you want to believe. But like I said, I don't lie about nothing. And that is on the jail phone on a call when he told me that. He said, I don't care what nobody say. I was standing right next to him. I heard what he told him. He told him, yo, there go the nigga right there that bad boy hired to kill you. Now, when you think about that and you start thinking how Orlando was standing there just waiting, and then you think about everything that transpired afterwards. It don't look like a setup to you? I'm going to leave y'all with that one to think on. Choke no joke. I'll be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. We could talk about it more. 100. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Yeah. We out.
Jack Brown. You know what it is.
Keep on hating.
You know what it is. Never did did I think hip-hop go this far. Never did I think I see Diddy behind Mars or Kells. Penitentiary scars, the man act. Is it going too far? Back, y'all industry rats, y'all whack. That's 100 on Pyro. You'll be trapped like Pac. The go viral. Gene saw the nuts of gyro. At the freak off and Diddy too. But plug shopper, free door stopper. Nigga, you don't know if you a criminal or a cop. But you're next to be locked. Ask KVD, telling on yourself on Vlad TV. You dumb nigga, right? You'll never be me. And I never be you too. Telling on YouTube, yeah, sitting on the step, giving up myself. What the fuck I look like? My name G-Dap. Comb legacy doom. Will the bad boy see time like loan? Your extortion fell through. You friended no one like the moon. What did you do? Sat back and watch him get groomed. Only badge in the room. You and wifey drunk the juice. Saw the check for Pac's life. And his back right. Guess it's bad boy for life. Or should I say same gang? You the same lane. That Diddy let hang. And now he chain gang. Damn, you rocked him, fella. Didn't you? For the mozzarella. Did it for Wolf and his mother. D-Fur and Kurt Burrow. Nah, nigga, you did it cause your ass ain't thorough. And you ain't from the boroughs. Joke, no joke. You know what it is. This one's for the whole earth. You know, when they get disrespectful, I just go to the booth and kick the truth to the young black youth. Joke, no joke. You know what it is. Keep on hating. You know what it is.
Joke, no joke. Yeah. It's joke, no joke. Let's go. Joke, no joke. Chicken joke, no joke. Joke, no joke. Niggas choke, no joke.
Get that tunnel doc out right now. It's called the Hip
What
Hop
up, y'all? It's
Nucleus.
Arthur D. Austin, better known as Choke No Joke. We out here at the legendary Tunnel nightclub, or at least where it used to be. Everybody asks me what's the Tunnel. The Tunnel was a nightclub that was owned in the 90s here by Peter Gatien. In 94, Stress Entertainment started a party called Mecca. In 96, Franchise Entertainment took it over and they had it until it closed. All the biggest names in hip hop perform here, from Jay-Z, Meth and Red, Dr. Dre, Snoop, Nas, Puff Daddy and the Family, Eve, you name it, they was all here. If you had heart, you came here. But everybody didn't have heart. So it's time for y'all to enter the club most people feared to enter, the Tunnel.
The Tunnel wasn't a unique hip-hop club, and its foundations were based on the concept of bringing hip-hop from all the boroughs to one location. And it was the brainchild of Peter Gatien. My name is Sterling Cox. I was the head of security.
Alpha Grinion, Brooklyn, New York.
My name is V.
House. Sincere from Brooklyn.
Glenn Beck.
Jumping Lee, whatever Lee you want to call me.
Omega.
Ray Mack.
Diamond,
Craig.
Candy,
Big Box. Big Country.
Ramona Diaz,
Big Penna. Big CB. John Bass Raleigh.
Sean Brophy, sound engineer.
DJ Johnny Walker Red.
MC Frank Jigger, the celebrity's choice.
Choke No Joke, legendary videographer.
Supreme Bigger Figure, Big Cap, The Warden.
Big G, AKA the ringleader.
The tunnel was the hip-hop nucleus.
It was the epicenter.
It was the domain, the temple.
It was the Mecca.
It was like the hip-hop Woodstock.
Nothing was that melting pot of hip-hop.
They kept the paradigm going.
It's almost like what Rucker did for like street basketball. The tunnel was that of music industry.
Hip-hop had a heart. That shit was one of the main arteries. It was actually a Mecca. That's what the original name of the party was, Mecca.
It was like a time machine. That's how the tunnel was. You came out a whole different individual.
We went in there, young men with attitudes, and came out there wiser men with our lives.
It was definitely a starting beginning spot for artists to come and mingle and branch out and get your record heard and get your shit together, really, to go into the next phase of your career.
The tunnel was not open or did not open. A lot of new artists, or a lot of artists that we know now, to this very day, will have never been known.
All these artists out today need to be happy that the tunnel was fucking open. Nobody would hear none of y'all singing tight pants niggas right now. The tunnel was a platform for niggas like Jay and Puff, Woo and Mob and DMX and Rough Riders. Niggas don't respect these niggas today, man. You need to realize, man, without them niggas, man, and their platform, it made a lot of moves for niggas today.
It happened there, it made it relevant.
Became a pillar of hip hop.
The tunnel is the nucleus of hip hop. And I'll say all the way down south, because when the tunnel was open, wasn't too much going on down that motherfucker. Y'all can say what y'all want, peace to the south, but New York made this shit pop. New York was where it's at. The tunnel in New York is where you needed to be to pop.
The tunnel was definitely a hip-hop nucleus, yo. It was just like the galaxy, it bring other planets in. You have people from France, Germany, London, everywhere. If they came to New York, they had to go to the tunnel.
Hi, from here, I come here to meet you, and I'm going to all the place. I'm going to the Bronx, to Sedgwick Avenue, McCool Hook, to the party, and Cedar, and then I'm going to the tunnel.
It was our barometer for, how we were really gauging records, and we were really, studying the behavior of the consumer.
Saying it ain't just like how they do it now. You could just throw a record out and, wait 8 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever for the shit to bubble. Niggas was putting them records on to see if them shits get that reaction. And if the shit was popping, niggas would fast track it. If it wasn't, niggas would go back to the drawing board.
Absolutely. It's the definition of hip hop nucleus. Everything was there.
Everything that surrounded hip hop, from fashion to music, hairstyles.
Like, it encompassed every part of the hip-hop experience, and they put it all in one building on a Sunday night.
If you go as far back to little hole in the walls and little centers where people start elaborating, playing the sounds and displaying the culture, to within later on you have places that was up in Harlem, like Harlem World, up in the Bronx called T Connection, just using them as an example of many other places all throughout the city. And then years later, here come places like Union Square and Latin Quarters. The last of the Mohegans of for real hip hop had became the tunnel.
Tunnel was definitely a hip hop nucleus. It really was. And you gotta say, believe it or not, the wagon master was a one-eyed white guy from Canada, Peter Gatesha.
Nothing will ever be like the tunnel.
Choke, no joke. Yeah. It's choke, no joke. Let's go. Choke, no joke. Chicken, choke, no joke. Choke, no joke. Nigga.